Hi there, everybody. I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and this is Lodestone Q&A. We're here every Friday, and we have some fabulous discussions. So glad you've joined us, LinkedIn members and YouTubers. Welcome. And if you have any questions or any comments at all, please put them in the comments. We will see them here, and I will address them. And you'll feel very much part of our discussion if you do that. Okay, now, as usual, before I bring on to the stage my lovely guests, I'm going to play a voiceless presentation. And this is in the interest of inclusivity, because I want to make sure that sufferers of ADHD, hearing impaired, and so on, autistic syndrome people are included, can join this kind of event. So I make my presentation voiceless so that people can get into the mood, whoever they are, wherever they are. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, no, that's not right. Sorry. Share my screen. Where is share my screen? Oh, okay. Nope, sorry. Actually, it seems to have disappeared. It's disappeared at a moment. It's a little technical hitch. There we are. Yeah, StreamYard's a bit tricky. Sometimes things So I hope that gave you some ideas about our conversation today. And I wonder if you could hear the singing bowl sing. Yeah, you may think your volume wasn't high enough. So let's get started. Lovely guests onto the stage. Today we've got a wonderful new guest. So first of all, let's bring on Ebby. Here's Ebby behind the Halloween scene. Well, I'm still celebrating Halloween because I love this colour. And here's Dr. Jamusi. And here...
Hello.
Hello, hello. And here is our wonderful new guest. Let me bring her onto the stage. Here she is, Iris Hunat. And
Hello.
Iris is joining us today. You'll get a chance to get to know each other. But I'll just give a little introduction to Iris. She's a leadership coach, but she's a master coach. She's
professional certified.
Okay. So she's trying to elevate leadership everywhere. That's her mission. And she has something called her roadmap for growth through change. Roadmap for growth through change. I love that. And yes, so she helps managers transform into impactful leaders who inspire, influence, and deliver results. And what's more, she works with Japanese CEOs. So I am so delighted to learn from her how to break to the market. So welcome, Iris. It's so nice to have you. Let me make us all a bit background. I love this color, and secretly I can't get rid of this overlay. Not sure how to get rid of it. It won't disappear. So there we are. Okay, so let's get started now. I gave some questions to you. I'll just pull them up so I can remind myself. But first of all, before we start to discuss, what about the video, Ebby? What did you think? Did it touch it?
Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, you've got to mute on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the music kept breaking up. So I think your internet's having problems today. Just to let you know.
No, it was intentional.
Oh, okay.
It was so that you could bring those sounds into your body yourself. So it was quite intentional.
Okay,
and especially
great.
for the singing bowl one. You know, it's too easy to just give you the singing bowl audio.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm more kinesthetic. So it's difficult to focus on both the music and the visual. But so yeah, my concentration was more on the visual than the sound. Yeah. And so it was because I love pictures, and was like seeing the different the formation. There was a formation there, the sky, the sand. So it made me feel. So again, coming to my feeling, made me feel really calm, just seeing nature. So I kind of was imagining myself, my feet in the sand. And then made me realize about the speaking in the head, because you talked about there was a visual on speaking in your head. And and I guess I'm more speaking in the head, maybe because of school, the way I was trained. And it's now learning to speak, like you said, from the body. And I was particularly attracted to the visual of the throat because of thyroid, because I did have thyroid issues, and realizing that when you speak, you vibrate. There's the vibration that goes on in your body. Recognizing that vibration helps with the healing of that part of, well, all parts of your body, really. But if you're
Yes.
speaking with intent and speaking with realization of the vibrations that's happening inside, it's also creating healing. So I guess speaking with intent and is very, very important to understand what your words are doing to your body. Because what's that, the name of that Japanese doctor that wrote the book about water and the body? And so Dr. I can't remember his name, but he talks about
Yamamura,
something
I
like that.
think.
So, but he talks
Yeah.
about how voice, how, what you say, your words, how it affects water, and he shows the crystals when it's great,
Ah,
and he shows how it's disjointed when it's not. And we have to keep in mind that we are made mostly of water, so what we
right.
bring out is also affecting ourselves. So that just what it brought to me. So the feeling of that, feeling of peace for me.
Great. Thank you, Abby. That's
Again with
super.
my ADHD, because like the ADHD, it
Oh,
helps.
that's great. That's a lovely response. Thank you. Muhibo, how about you? And by the way, Iris, we can call Jamusi Dr. Jamusi Muhiba. I think she prefers it, really.
By far.
Lovely.
You're right. By
I
far.
am. We
Thank you
don't
all
need any
so much.
titles.
No labels. No labels apart from being clearly gender, same gender. That is a label we can tell. All the rest. And now we are not even sure of this. So a pleasure to be with you. And I do agree with Shakespeare on a few things. One of them, the more the merrier. So I love having panels, and the more the merrier indeed, because it speaks of diversity, variety. And I start with where you started, the sun. I love watching the sun rise. I love the sun going down, and it reminds me of circle. The sun is a circle. It also reminds me, we might think it's beginning and end, but it's a circle, and it gets refreshed every single day, and I love this. And concerning present and future, and the image you had, a lovely artistic image, and I see the core, the very, very core, as past, and as it expands, it becomes present. And if it goes further, 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 it may touch upon future. Now, I loved also the image when you spoke of voice as a mirror. I entirely agree. When someone speaks, you can tell somebody is stressed, somebody is calm, somebody is welcoming. Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, you are most welcome." And I say, "I'm not so sure."
Yes.
All of a sudden,
Follow
the mirror
words.
shows me, yeah, and the mirror shows me something completely different from what I'm supposed to be seeing. And of course, communication starts and ends in the body. And my view of the body starts here and goes down and up and circles and goes around my arms. And so it's all over me, and it is me. And the invitation to be here now and letting our body speak before we do. I am Tunisian, so I'm Mediterranean, and we are known for gesticulating like the Italians. We are very close. We are just separated by the sea. So originally, we must have been on the same land millions and millions of years ago. And so we gesticulate like the Italians. And for us, you won't understand us if we don't express ourselves with our passion and our gestures and going up and down. So we try to reduce them when we are dealing with people who come from other cultures, and you can still tell. We shake our hands. Even if we stop our hands from shaking, we continue shaking our hands, and that is the body. So the body speaks the minute we speak, not before, not after. It is already speaking the minute we start a sentence. We are speaking as a whole, and we celebrate emotions. In my own culture, we celebrate emotions as much as brains, feelings, everything is part of it all.
Lovely. Thank you. Lovely. Always lovely to have your comments. Thank you. Thank you. And Iris, what about you? Can we throw you in the deep end? And can you
Yeah, I
tell
have
about
to
the
admit
video?
that the video was stopping from my end. So if that was not an issue at your end, it was probably an issue at my end.
You
So
mean it was breaking up?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So this is why I put the message in the chat, because I wasn't sure if that is my internet or not. But I caught certainly the pictures, and I could imagine what was going on. And yeah, what is communication? Muhiba, you just said about the cultural thing. So I'm born and raised in the southwestern part of Germany, where we grow a lot of wine, and it's not far away from France. And Strasbourg is really nearby. And so I think what you just said resonates with me a lot. Also, what Abby said about the nature thing. I mean, I love nature. I have to have nature around me, otherwise I cannot exist. And I'm also a very emotional person. I use my hands, and I remember times in Japan where people were looking at me, what's going on with her, if she's using all her body language and everything. And
I know the
and then I
feeling.
realized, gosh, they are looking at me and they think she's crazy or what. And then I started to really become more aware what I'm obviously evoking in others without being aware of myself at that point of time. And that really, I mean, it's still an ongoing process. And I think that's very powerful to have like a second self that is observing you. What is it that you're conveying now? Is that in sync with what you are really feeling? Is that authentic? And I think that constant self-reflection, that's something that resonated with me in the pictures and everything that you said before. Yeah, and I can sense it in the way that that in many conversations people speak from the head, even including me. I remember a conversation with a client where it was like an initial conversation around a concept, and he told me, I never met a person that is so analytical in that context. And I was like, oh God, I thought I'm actually creating some passion for the topic, which I was doing in a way, but it was so interesting what is happening. And then I reflected, and this scheme of being present in the moment as a coach, that's really a scheme where Lyndon caught my interest with her approach, because I have realized over the past years, where I went through some really difficult personal times, that if you are not present, you do not convey what you want, and you are not with a person at that point of time. So this is what came up when I was now listening to you, and what I was remembering. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. That's really lovely. Yes, I think the idea that the body speaks is a miraculous idea. And my experience is amazing concerning this, because I spent a lot of time with tribal peoples in South Australia, in the South Australian desert. And they very seldom spoke, vocally. They would not say very much at all. And later I learnt that they were using their bodies for all sorts of other purposes. One of them, things I've talked about in the past, is whole body listening. So one of the most extraordinary sights I've ever seen is a tribal elder standing stock still in the middle of a red desert surrounded by nothing much, and standing on one leg, as they do, with his spear. And we all stopped, had no idea what was going on. We all stopped and looked where he was looking. And then later, maybe, I don't know exactly how long, but possibly 10 minutes later, he announced through his junior, if you like, because he was a high-level tribal people, he announced that there was a sandstorm coming. And it was about 10 miles away. So, of course, we Westerners thought, well, how does he know that? No computers, no phones, nothing, you know. And indeed, within 30 minutes, this sandstorm approached, and we saw it coming. And there was no trace of it before that. So he was using his whole body to listen to the earth, and they have many other ways of using their bodies too. So speech is not so important to people who live close to the earth, who are custodians of the earth. And so I learned a lot about how important it is when you do speak to actually resonate. And so whenever I speak, and I do speak quite a lot, really, which is strange. I don't usually, but I think it's the internet. And when I speak from my chest, and I can feel my whole body resonating. And I had the good fortune to be a singer. Well, I still am a singer, but I was trained as a singer. And of course, that's where you really learn that, in fact, your voice comes out of every single skin pore of your body if you're. So the way we use my passion, I'm very, very much into that. So fascinating. We've all got our different perspectives, and we all come from different cultures and different ways of living. But we've got some questions here. So I gave these questions to Iris, and she chose some. Would you like to share one of the questions you chose? 4 that she really loved.
Yes, of course. And I'm putting that as well in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was just about to do that, but you beat me to it.
So the first question that I had chosen was, how often do you catch yourself speaking while your mind is remembering the past or imagining the future? And how does that affect how you communicate?
Right. Great. Shall we start with that then? How often do you catch yourself speaking while your mind is remembering the past or imagining the future? And how does that affect how you communicate? Well, yeah, I just make a slight comment before we go in. I don't speak when I'm imagining anywhere else except now and here. And that's something I've trained myself to do as an embodiment mentor, because a lot of the work I do is with listening to the voice, people's voices. And in fact, that's how I find out what their problem is, not from what they say, but from the tone and timbre of their voice, which is ideal for the internet. So if anybody wants to work with me, I ask them to record a 2-minute audio file for me. And then I get a picture. I get a very strong picture of the balance of their bodies, where they might have some kind of pain or blockage. It's a kind of spiritual way of getting into the voice, which I've learnt through my music training, through being a music therapist for many years. And so, yeah, to me, I never speak unless I'm here and now, which I've trained myself to do. Yeah, I may reminisce. I never.
Can I comment?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, sorry. So the question, or the part of the question that really intrigued me, was about while your mind is remembering the past. And I'm not only seeing this in the context of being a coach, also when I speak with my partner or friends. I mean, we exchange things, and if a friend has a problem, automatically I remember things of my past. So I was wondering how to stop that. And because you have your experiences and they build in what you say. So, for example, this week I spoke with a friend, and she is going through a massive personal change, which I can anticipate and relate to because I have made a similar experience. So, how would you not remember the past when you speak to that person? If I allow myself, however, to remember too much, then probably I might not be the friend who can be supportive in that moment. Maybe I would start even crying myself, which would also be okay then. But that's really something I was intrigued, and I'd like to hear from you all how you see
Right.
that. Yeah.
Great. AB? Muhiba? Muhiba?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
It's. I have written about present, past, and future because I've always been intrigued by what we call present, past, and future, and I challenged my students in class to be just present, which is extremely hard, by the way, for a student to be sitting for 1 hour listening. And even if I made, although I made my classes totally interactive, you still buzzing off to what, who will be coming to pick me up. Am I too late for my kids? Things like that. This is about the future and the past. Remembering, being expected to remember what we said last time. You are already in the past. So the game, it's a game, it's a play all the time between these three times. And there's hardly, by the way, we insist so much on present because there is hardly anything left for the present. The present is too short, too quick, too brief. When we were watching the video, it's no longer the present, it's already the past. When we talked of the video, we were
Yeah.
already talking about the past. We were talking in what used to be the present, which is by now the past, about further past. See, the interplay should not confuse us. I embrace it. I just embrace it, thinking, play it all, be coherent, because if you allow yourself to go into all these tenses, you get lost, and the others certainly will get lost. Take it easy, embrace all these tenses. And if somebody says, how come you are doing this? You are bound to remember. Memories are present, and some memories are extremely present. I myself decide I embrace any tense as long as it is serving me and serving the other for greater contact, for greater communication, for greater understanding of each other. Fine, and it becomes communication. All the tenses together become communication. Now, just to comment on the question itself, which I picked up, but as my sixth choice, because I had other choices. So, how often do you catch yourself speaking while your mind is remembering? All the time. My answer is all the time. How does that affect you when you communicate? Not in coaching. When I'm coaching someone, I go to the further back so that it's not my past and it's not my future. It's the coachee's present, and I make sure it is the coachee's present because the coachee is constantly moving, particularly those who come in great pain. They are constantly moving to past, future. And I try to go, like what we do to horses, because it's fundamental in coaching that we stay right here and right now. This is the moment when I'm, very concerned with staying here and now. And I try to sort of make sure the coach he does not go off and off and off. And we lose totally the present, the moment. We are supposed, as coaches, coaching goes, to dance in the moment. So we stay here.
Wonderful. And I think, Muhiba, you inspired me to say that, yeah, writing is an interesting way of communicating, isn't it? Because, of course, when you write, it doesn't really matter. It's speaking that is, to me, so important when we're working with clients to be absolutely here and now. And that another spiritual dimension to this is that here and now is reality. Here and now is the only reality, and that's what I do a lot of work with in meditation and mindful practices. Once we really come down into the unique core that we each have, then we really realize that there's no point in going anywhere else. This is where our reality is, here and now. And so it's really amazing for me that the Aboriginals I worked with 30 years ago had exactly that phrase, here and now. And when I wrote it down, because some of them could write, then they would put the words together, no gaps, here and now, one word. Very interesting. So that spurred me on to stay as often as I can in the here and now. And for me, that's where true happiness is, and where true vision is, you know. If I skit off into other tenses, as Muhiba says, I lose my track. And so staying here and now really, and radiating. So that's another thing I teach my clients to do. Stay here and now and become a magnet. And you will attract the most amazing things. You don't have to go rushing out there. You just have to resonate from your core, and life just totally changes this. Because this has happened to her, I think, a couple of times. So, Eddie, what do you think?
Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Just a quick one before I kind of give my answer. So I like how what you've just spoken about, talking about the Aborigines, or should we say Inuit? I don't know what the correct terminology should be, but yeah, I think as people, its language is kind of spoiled us. If you look at the animals, they feel with their body, and they can feel the vibration of things about to happen, because as we know, the heart has the information first before it goes to the brain. Yeah. So if we're really in tune with our bodies, we can probably feel what's about to happen. But I think we have, should I say, become kind of lazy. I don't think we've lost it. We've become lazy. We're not really connecting with our bodies. So asking that question, how often do you catch yourself speaking while your mind is remembering the past or imagining the future? Like Mohiba said, every time. It's like I have to catch myself and think, oh no, I have to be present. I need to be present. So I'm learning to be more present by taking brief breaths and just being more aware of what's going on in my body as I'm listening. But at least for me, I listen with the feeling. And I think one of the things, so the second part of the question is, what would it feel like to speak with your body? When I'm listening, I'm truly listening, I'm feeling, not, maybe it's the cells I'm feeling in my body, but I'm feeling like the vibration. And like now as I'm talking, I can feel it here, you know, I can feel it in my chest, you know, and imagining what good it's doing for my body when I'm bringing out positive things, as opposed to like when you're speaking negatively. I'm really trying to notice the negativity, because if I kind of feel it in your gut and it's like a pain kind of thing. And I mean, I've had somebody who's really been upset with me saying, "Oh, how come you're always thinking positive?" because I just naturally go into that. But the thing about thinking in my head is because I'm always looking for solutions, which can be a positive, but not a positive while you're listening. It can be a positive if you take it after, but while you're listening, like Mohiba said, or was it you, Lyndon, that said, we only have this moment. Yeah, it was Mohiba. We only have this moment, and once that moment's gone, it's gone, and you can't get it back. So it's very important to be in the moment and listen, because I'm changing now, but usually because I'm thinking of the future, people misunderstand me because I haven't been able to listen and respond to that. I'm giving answers to things they haven't thought about because my mind's like way ahead.
Rushing ahead.
It doesn't help communication. So,
Yes,
like,
yes.
yeah, listening to the body, listening to the vibration that they're bringing into me, and then responding with that. So, yeah.
Super. I think
the biggest way.
If I
right.
may
Mohiba,
comment,
yes.
if I may,
May
I love. Yeah,
go
if
ahead.
I may comment just very shortly, very briefly about what Abby says about this division, positive, negative. I prefer and even I allow it to happen during a coaching session, to buzz off to future, buzz off to past when it's positive. Sometimes I even call on memories. When somebody is not feeling well, I say, call on earlier memories when you were. Relax and remember when you were swimming. And it was such a beautiful experience. And you were fine and you were turning ground. This imbues the present with such well-being. Otherwise, why use the past if it's toxic? Why use the future if it's toxic? Get rid of them both and stay in the present. If you can, I often say, open that room where there is the past, look around. If there is a flower there, pick it up, go out, lock the room, and bring your flower to you. Pick up in your past, in your future, whatever serves you. That's my magic thought, feeling.
That's lovely.
What serves you?
Lovely.
Pick fast, present, now, right now. Positivity, as Abby says, rather than toxic things we don't need. Neither now, nor in the past, nor in the future.
That's right. Yes, and I was just going to say two little things and then I'll shut up. But one thing is that my pathway has shown me that words and images are mere symbols. They're symbols and we need them in the intellectual world. And there are many reasons why we need so many symbols. But if we go behind those symbols or below those symbols and stop using them, and that's why I'm not a therapist, because I don't use language. If I go below those words or those sounds, then I can cue into something quite different in the body. And to me, this is the kind of nub of my work, really, that we get away from NLP type analyses of the language that's being used, which is being reiterated and, reinforcing all sorts of terrible things. So I like to take people completely away from that and go beneath all those symbols. And then we can find reality. And the second short thing is, what is communication? We haven't defined it. And I'm sure it's something completely different to each of us. So, communication, yes, of course, spoken communication. We seem to all be going around with that idea. But there are so many types of communication. And yes, I've just spent the last 30 years, just to give Iris a little bit of background, teaching Japanese students in universities here about nonverbal communication. Because as Iris knows, really, Japanese people don't use it hardly at all. because they read the air, they have formulaic ways of expressing things, and they are kind of inscrutable, if you like. It's very difficult to get below, to really get to know a Japanese person very well. And that's why I've been here 20 years, because I have now got below that cultural exterior. And so, yes, in my work here with students, nonverbal communication, teaching people how to make eye contact, which we do naturally. And Japanese people don't do it naturally at all. It's not what they do. And things like gestures, of course, body language, proximity, all of these things I've had to teach these students so that they could communicate in a global way. And so to me, communication, so much of communication is invisible. And my work is with the invisible world mostly. Very little tiny part is actual meaning and speech and so on. In fact, research has been done, lots of research, into how much of a single utterance is actually verbal and how much is non-verbal. And it could be anything between 70 to 90% is non-verbal, is invisible. And so that's the kind of communication I'm talking about. But what about you, Iris? What is communication to you?
Well, I'm facilitating a workshop called The Leader as a Coach, and there is something called listening and telling your truth, where certainly when you listen, you truly listen, and you listen for everything, not just the words. And with the Japanese experience in my background, it naturally comes that sometimes what has not been said is the most important thing. And that rings a bell for a lot of people who are maybe more extrovert and who want everything to be expressed in a very explicit way. Yeah, so I fully see that, and I also have read about that research, so it fully resonates with me. And I even feel it with myself when I speak with people, that when I see a facial expression that doesn't match the words, I feel like, okay, well, what might be going on here? Yeah.
Yes, the incongruence. Yeah. That's such an important thing in my work too. Ebby, what about you? What's communication to you?
What Iris just said just reminds me of something, the incongruence. Like some people say, "Are you feeling okay?" Yes, I am. I'm feeling really fine. Well, they don't realize they're doing it, and that, yeah. So yeah. Like, what does communication mean? It's not just the words, is it? Actually, there's research to say that the words are like the list of communication, the facial expression, the calibration of the face, of the color. It's a change in color can give away a lot of things. And like you said with the Aborigines, they communicate without speaking. So we can, like people say, okay, maybe it's telepathy, I don't know, but it's being able to read people, the body language. So communication to me is more than that. And that's why I've never liked the telephone. I mean, now we've got even as a child, I didn't like it because you can't see.
No.
And now it's difficult with coaching. A lot of my coaching would be online, which is not my preferred. My preferred would be face-to-face, because even though online is better than nothing, you still can't feel the energy, because again, there's an energy that's transpiring between two people when you're talking. Yes. So, and the facial expression, you can't, and even the calibration, you can't really see it online, of the changing colors of the face when these things are happening. So communication.
Yes, I totally agree. Yes, and it's really interesting that in my research of communication in general, many studies have been done into how many facial expressions and orientations of the head human beings have. Have a guess. How many?
I bet it's hundreds.
It's
More.
10,000 in some very recent research. So we have this ability to use to just move the head one tiny millimeter, and it has meaning. And the facial expression is the same as you say, the color of the skin, but the actual facts are that over 10,000 orientations and facial expressions make us master communicators, really. But the problem is the meaning gets in the way. And of course, the other complication is we are each individual DNA constellations, if you like, with ancestral lineage and so on. And so it's just amazing to me that we actually ever do communicate when we have such different ways of processing information, emotions. We learn in such different ways, and yet we manage somehow to communicate. And my theory is that it's mostly non-verbal. Wiba, you're dying to. You've got hundreds.
Hundreds as usual. Whenever Iris doesn't know this yet, but whenever they speak and they say, "What is your answer to the question?" I often say, "You mean the questions?" Because you've turned the one question into half a dozen questions, and it is always the case. So this is why I find this session so inspiring, so beautiful. Absolutely inspiring. And the minute you said communication, you have reminded me of something I've always said about communication. Sometimes you listen to people. It's fascinating to be the observer. When you listen to two people talking to each other, by the way, I have it in mathematical terms. I get the feeling that there are two parallels. Just one talking and the other continuing without listening to a single word. How do you know? How do you know? It's when this one would resume exactly where what they were saying.
Shadowing.
And they would talk, and the other wouldn't listen and would resume exactly where they would have stopped, which means this is what gives me the idea that these are two parallels moving along, never ever meet.
That's a great metaphor. Yeah, that's true.
This is the worst conversation you could have. Doesn't get you anywhere, and you feel like saying, "By the way, why not say goodbye?" You're not getting anywhere. You're not even listening to what the other is saying. You are repeating what you already know to yourself. This is one aspect of it. And as for the 7%, when I heard about the 7% of what we communicate is words, the rest is something else, I was shocked. That was a few years ago. Since then, yes, very close to this. Although, and I would add one thing, depending on first culture, second individuals. So in terms of cultures, different from one culture to another. Some cultures are more reserved, and the 7% would be maybe too much. Other cultures I would go to, maybe 15, 20%. They speak a lot. They are speakers. That's the Mediterraneans. They talk. And then you have the individual culture. I watched a couple getting at each other in a violent way. The husband was shouting, saying the worst words, just insulting, humiliating the wife. She never said a word, not one word. When the thing was over, she turned around and said, "See how extraordinary I have been?" Never said a word. I said, "No." She said, "Remember how violent he was?" I said, "You were as violent." I said, "No, come on." I said, "Yes." I looked at you and you were going like, you were saying it through your body, sort of all the shut ups she was saying, and I'm not going to go to the list of what she was saying through her body, but she was. And so, quite frankly, that's it. You have said it, we are saying it. And now to go back to coaching, sometimes you ask questions. So what about blah blah? And the coach says, I don't know. Just blah 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 blah. And this I don't know 3, 4 times. The next question I'm going to ask is, please, what is it you know? Simply,
Iris
what
is
is
not.
it you are not telling me? What is it you are not telling me? I have told you everything, so I don't know. So what is it you are not telling me? And that is the important part of coaching, much more than what we are told when somebody is saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Yeah.
Very interesting, yes. Iris, what about you? What's the
In
answer
terms
to your own question?
to the first one, then, or well, what's my answer? Well, as Muhiba said, in coaching, certainly. So I saw the question really in these two contexts. As a coach, I'm really with the client, and what Muhiba said earlier on fully resonates with me, and it's something that I'm also sometimes had to work on when I had a supervising coach, because I needed to make sure that there is no parallel process going on with me when I remember something that was similar. Yeah. So, and yeah, and so the point is that I see it when I'm wearing different hats. So if when I'm a coach, I would answer the question differently than if I was a facilitator, mentor, or a friend. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Great, yes, absolutely. I'd just like to tell you something very funny, if I may I? And I think Iris might resonate with this quite well. In Japan, it's so interesting watching people like Muhiba does, because one day I was on a bus, okay, and at the front of the bus, there's a rather old man and quite old lady, and they were sitting on different seats, okay, but they were communicating. Now, their communication consisted of not making any eye contact whatsoever. They're both staring ahead and they're talking. And every time one talks, and this parallel thing that Muhiba brought up came to mind, every time when one of them talked, the other would say, eh? Yeah, she knows about this. And so in Japan, what happens all the time, and it happens to me every single day, is I say something and the person says, eh? Which, of course, in English and European culture and so on is quite rude, but I got used to it now. And I repeat, you see. Well, I tell you, my ego has got such a lot of damage from this, because the British, especially the British, I remember as a child, if I had to repeat something, I'd get so frustrated. Because, they had to hear me the first time. But in Japan, and this conversation between this old guy and the lady went on for the full journey, which was about 30 minutes. Every time, eh? And so it seemed as if they were speaking and just deliberately not hearing. That's what Japanese do. They delay responding till they're ready. It's really interesting. Yeah, Iris knows about this. They will not respond.
Plus, it's a response to say also, hey, I'm listening. It's not necessarily, yeah. So yeah, but that. Lyndon, I need to share with you that I squeezed our wonderful conversation in this morning, but I'm not sure, is it more than an hour, because I need to drop off at the top of the hour?
Oh, it's the top of the hour now, but I don't know, we go on we'd go on all night if you let us, I think. But,
Okay.
but you have an appointment, so you must leave whenever you want to. If you'd like to.
Yeah, then
We are
please bear with me. Yeah.
Yes,
But it
of
was
course. We're so glad you've
lovely.
joined us,
Yeah.
and I hope you'll come and join us again.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you, Mohiba, and thank you, Abby. Was a pleasure meeting you, and
Thank
I probably reach out so that we're all connected via LinkedIn. So that would be lovely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, lovely.
Okay.
Sure.
Super. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank you for
guys.
coming.
I'll be in
Bye-bye.
touch. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.
So so this is really interesting phenomenon in Japan, and it's driven me mad for years.
So is it that they don't hear? Is it that
No.
somebody doesn't hear?
They hear.
They're waiting to respond.
They
I can't
refuse to
believe it. This is
respond.
why I'm asking the question, because I can't believe it. In my own
They're
culture, you
waiting to
do this.
respond.
It's
Yeah.
Which is a
extraordinary.
good. It's actually a good trick. So you say that you say A to delay, but they understand that it's because it's part of their culture. Whereas I probably wouldn't understand. I would think they haven't heard me.
No.
Well, you're saying they have
Yeah.
heard, but they're
Yeah.
using that as a tactic to delay
They're
before the
stalling.
response. Make you think. Yeah.
So the other wouldn't repeat then. No need to repeat.
No, the other repeats. That's the other ridiculous thing. So there's this one. So each utterance takes about 3 minutes. So you've got the utterance, which is said in perfectly voluble
Clear.
way. It's not muttered or anything. In fact, very loud voice. And then the other person will say, "Eh?" And then there'd be a little silence, and the person would repeat it at leisure. Could be a few minutes later, and then the person listening would respond. So it's like they, as Abby says, they are not prepared to be pressurized into communicating when they're not ready.
That's really it's actually a great strategy.
I have, in my own culture, some people use this as a strategy. When you ask them for something, could you do this or that? They have told me, the answer would be, I will think about it and let you know. So it's blunt, I will think about it. Particularly people who try to get rid of people pleasing, instead of saying yes, I can keep the kids for you. Let me think about it and I'll let you know, which is a clear way of saying, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let me try and see.
Yeah. So that's.
Do they come back or do they just avoid you after saying that?
Do they really mean no then?
A lot of them, because they are people pleasers, actually mean no. And if you know them good enough, you know that if they say, let me think about it, you never go back to them, because it's a way of saying,
No.
I can't say no, but it is no.
Yeah. Well, in a way, that's what's happening in Japan, because the feeling you get when this happens 10 times, people who've spoken in nervous Japanese, because they're very critical about Japanese, who've said something in Japanese, and they say "eh," and you kind of think, oh God, I didn't get it right, and you say it again. Then there's a silence, and they will wait until they really are ready to reply. The other thing that happens is that you call somebody that lives with you or whatever, and you shout and say, "Oh, by the way, will you bring the washing in or something?" No answer. No answer. "Hey, will you bring the washing in?" No answer. So then you storm in and say, "Did you hear me?" "Yes." So I said, "Well, why didn't you answer?" It's amazing. They will not be pushed into communication. And so that's one of the reasons I think Japanese culture is so difficult for foreigners, because they don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that is it not individual also? It is sometimes individual because I ask, I live with a family, you know, it's not my biological family. And sometimes I say, could you possibly, because I don't carry heavy things, could you possibly, as usual, please take my laundry up there so that I could put it on the line. And they say, okay. 15 minutes later, did you take the laundry up there? I said, okay, I will do it. Half an hour later,
Nothing.
oh, not again about the laundry. I did say I will do it. And I did it. I say, I normally would do something and say, by the way, I've done it. So you see, in terms of communication, when somebody says, have you sent this, for example? Well, the normal thing for me is, by the way, I've done it. Done.
Yes, for me too. I mean, that's just common sense to us,
Common
isn't
sense.
it?
Say done, I won't bother you. Otherwise, I would continue to bother you at least one more time unnecessarily. So it's also the art. This is what I call when I talk with my coaches about communication, I speak of the art of communication, the skill of communication. It's not just we are supposed to know these things. These are skills we learn, particularly when we work in a cultural, very diverse cultural background. And also, it makes sense, as Lyndon has just said, it makes sense to say, done, I've done it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it's like in Japan, everybody's completely separate. They're in their own bubble and they will not come out of it unless they're ready. Oh, I tell you, my patient's been worn to a frazzle, really. No, in the end, I've just adapted to it. But I refuse to do it myself. So I haven't adapted those cultural norms as other people do, because this is, you can hear it everywhere, this which means just a moment, I'm having a think or eating my ice cream or whatever it is. You can hear it everywhere in Japan. And so I refused to do that. And my Japanese teacher said, you should do it. It's cultural. I said, I can't. It's just such an abuse of communication to me. And I'm a loving human being. I want to reassure. No reassurance in this culture. None, naturally. So as Muhiba said, you know, if the laundry, if you took the laundry up, you pop your head around the door and say, by the way, your laundry's upstairs. Okay. Yeah. How simple is that?
Clarity.
Yes, clarity. And so it seems that Japanese people don't have the instinct to do that.
I mean, it's just cultural. It's I don't think it's so they all understand it because it's a culture. And I would say, like with Muhiba's case, I would say maybe set boundaries. So, can you take the laundry up for me now, as I need to hang it up in 5 minutes or 2 minutes? Yes. I need to hang it up now. You know, because some people can't work without direct instructions.
Oh, that's I don't know very why. True.
So yes, you might think it's common sense, but they kind of think, oh, well, she's not giving me any boundaries, so it doesn't matter. I can do it tomorrow.
Yes, maybe.
I love
so true. Yes.
Yes. I love boundaries because I have a word that I sometimes use, extremely rarely, but to show that this is a red line. I use it in boundaries. I often discuss with my coaches how boundaries may have a lot of flexibility, but they need to be red lines. For example, I sometimes say, no, this is veto. I'm using my veto because this is definitely my private life concerning me, having absolutely nothing to do with anyone else around. So jokingly, obviously, I say, sorry, this is veto time. No. Which means this is my red line.
Yes.
It's not to be discussed.
The
others...
Boundaries are really interesting because in Japan, really, there are no boundaries. People do not set boundaries. They instead just become suspended in a kind of vacuum. And so eventually the foreigner, like me, used to, I don't do it now, I used to get really exasperated, and I'd fly into the room where the person was and say, look, I'm waiting for this. And even if I had given a timeline, as Evie suggests, and they still haven't done it, then of course it would inflame me. But now I'm completely detached from all.
Linda, it's about understanding the culture. So in that culture, you wouldn't do that. In the other culture where Eva was saying that, then you so it just depends. So,
but the question to me is, should culture overtake basic humanity?
Sorry, you got cut. So should culture, and the key word, we lost it.
Overtake basic humanity. I think this is a really good topic, because
that's a great topic. Yeah,
let's have a full-blown topic on it.
Yeah, that is a great topic.
Yeah, since it's a great topic,
I think it's a fabulous topic.
A fabulous introduction to our next one.
Yeah, you can't talk about this in 5 minutes. Yeah,
no.
And I just passionately do not believe that in many ways the Japanese culture is humane. I don't.
You have made it.
That's because you're not Japanese.
That's it. Lyndon,
they think it is.
Lyndon, you have given the best introduction to our topic on culture and adaptation.
That is amazing, yeah.
Is that what we should call it? Culture and adaptation.
Yeah. Absolutely so.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Well, great. Super.
Yeah, I love it.
See, it all comes from the body.
It all comes from all of us.
Yes.
Every part.
Be careful, because next time you say something to me, I could say, eh? No,
we've done it all today.
Never ever. It's outside my remit. I can't do that. Anyway, yeah, super. Okay, let's do it. That sounds great. Culture and adaptation, and then we can really bring these things together. And yeah, fabulous, super. Okay, I'll organise that. So, my dears, thank you so much for joining me. Your weekend is beginning. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we'll come back again next Friday, and we will have another wonderful discussion. I'm sure Iris will come back too. She's very fascinated by everything I'm doing, so I think she'll be back. Okay, then.
Perfect. Bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Sunday. Oh, Sunday. Yes, you're right. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So thank you so much to my lovely guests. And we do have some comments here, I think. Oh, no, they're from Ebby. Oh, well, there's still comments. Yes, I'd like to read these out to you. Trained as a Buddhist, to Lyndon thought that would help with present and listening to your body and your music training. Being in the now is so important, something I'm learning to do. Thank you, Ebby. That's great. Buzz off to the past and future when you remember positive. It can serve you. And wow, 10,000 ways we communicate non-verbally with our head movements. Wow, the body is amazing. Well, thank you, Ebby. That's super. And it really endorses what I've been saying. So fabulous. Thank you for joining me today. We'll be putting out some clips. And I hope you will contribute and repost, and hopefully come and join us, because we have a ball and we talk about fabulous topics. So we'll put the link beneath this live window, and hopefully you'll come and join us in the studio. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. This is Lyndon Thorpe on Lodestone Q&A, and we've been talking about communication here and now. Bye bye.